Welcome. We got a 7-game slate to talk about here in this video. My name is DK. Cover content for daily fantasy sports as well as for player prop stuff. If you guys are looking for more content, you can always check out my Patreon linked in the description. And yeah, I'll just get right into the video. Sorry if I'm running low on energy. I'm just exhausted, man. I'm gonna make this video, then I'm gonna go to bed. With doing DFS stuff and prop stuff full time, there's like very little time for anything else. So I've just not been sleeping recently. So I'm going to get this video up for you guys, and I'm going to go try to catch up on some sleep. But let's get into it here. Cleveland and Boston's first game here. So no Evan Mobley. Once again, I would assume they start Dean Wade for Mobley. As far as the top end guys go, Mitchell and Garland get a slight usage bump here without Evan Mobley. Both viable for tournaments. There's a little bit of blowout risk, though, in this game. You got Jared Allen, 6'6", assuming he avoids foul trouble. I think he probably plays mid-30s minutes. He played 36 minutes last game. You got Max Strus at 6'4", should play mid-30s minutes, kind of just reasonable. Levert, I want to keep an eye on the news for him. First game back in a while, played 23 minutes. There's not like a limit on him, not a limit on him or anything, then I would have a little bit of interest there. But yeah, I don't really know if I can get to anyone else. I know Dean Wade will most likely start. I don't think I can stomach that. See, like most likely Niang and Okoro in the rotation. For Boston, Jaylen Brown's questionable. That's pretty significant news. So would open up some stuff here for the Celtics. If he misses, you're either going to get Horford in the starting lineup or they could go Sam Hauser. But either way, everyone would look a little bit better if there's no Jaylen Brown, right? Tatum would look better. Porzingis, White, Holiday would all look better. If Jaylen Brown's in, then there's all just kind of a lot of secondary plays for the main Celtics. No one would really stand out. But again, if he's out, all the starters look better. And then Horford, Hauser probably get a minutes bump. I think I would only play Horford if he starts at 6K. And Hauser 4-3, obviously would feel a little bit better about him if he starts. Pritchard at 3.8K would probably get a slight minutes bump too as well if Jaylen Brown is out. Chicago, Miami. No Levine still. You got Caruso questionable. DeRozan is 8.2. This guy's really been pissing me off, man. I've been playing him. You know, when I play him, the guy can't hit the broadside of a barn. When I take unders on him, he just turns into Michael Jordan. Not really the best matchup, but again, without Levine, you got him and Vucevic to kind of run the offense. They get a usage bump here. Kobe White's also playing massive minutes. He's played extremely well. So the main three Bulls are definitely viable. Patrick Williams is indifferent on him at 5.9. Should see 30-ish minutes. I would assume he'll put up the Tony Snell a couple games ago. Last game, 38 minutes, put up 18 fantasy points. If there's no Caruso, again, he starts, would be interesting option. Torrey Craig is 4.3, probably a little bit too pricey. And Drummond, he'll back up Vooch. He'll be productive when he's in the court, but I don't love the price point on him. For Miami, we'll keep an eye on the news here with guys like Josh Richardson. He did not play tonight. Jimmy Butler, 9-1. As I always talk about Jimmy Butler, it's just like you never know what Jimmy Butler you're going to get, but a little revenge spot there for him. And then a lot of these wings look pretty similar to me with Martin and Robinson and Jaquez. No real strong takes in those guys. I guess if I had to pick, probably would go Jaquez there. Orlando Robinson, Kevin Love should split the center position. But again, there have been times where Thomas Bryant has played a little bit. Does make both those guys risky. Kyle Lowry at 6.1. Again, if there is no Josh Richardson, feel a little bit better about his minutes and role. Minnesota and Dallas. The big news here is Anthony Edwards as well as McDaniels. They're both questionable. They're both in. Not a ton that I like here for Minnesota. If they're both out, then things open up. Then Karl-Anthony Towns becomes a good player at the top. He becomes the go-to guy. Gobert's role doesn't really change, but guys like Conley and NAW look better. Slow-mo. The issue is these guys have been priced up a bit too. That's why I said if like Anthony Edwards and my boy Naz Reid's been playing well, but if Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels both in, there's not a ton here. Maybe still a little bit interested in Ant and Cat at the top. On the Dallas side, I'm very high on Luka Doncic. Again, without Kyrie Irving, he just plays massive minutes. I'm expecting 40-plus minutes here from Luka, 44 and 43 minutes over the last two games. Hardaway is probable. Again, expect him to play. Derrick Jones Jr. is questionable as well as Seth Curry. That's pretty significant news. If they're both out, they're going to feel really good about the minutes for guys like Exum and Hardaway and Grant Williams, and then Hardy would probably play big minutes. Derek Lively himself at 6.3. He can avoid foul trouble. I think he probably plays 30-ish minutes. Again, he dealt with some foul trouble last game. You got Exum, Hardaway, and Grant Williams. Again, those guys all are good plays, in my opinion, if there's no Derrick Jones Jr. and no Seth Curry. And then Jaden Hardy, again, he would be playable if both Jones Jr. and Seth Curry are out. His minutes have been all over the place, but would feel better about the minutes if those two are out. Let's talk about Brooklyn and Denver. So Brooklyn, again, it's just like whatever stands out in this team for me. Bridges and Dinwiddie secondary plays. Cam Thomas always fine for tournaments. Claxton, the minutes have been down on him. Again, that's just a little bit concerning. He's playing like mid-20s minutes a game recently. Cam Johnson, 6.6, feels priced right. The 3-and-D wings, man. Day'Ron Sharp, he'll back up Claxton. If you think Claxton gets in foul trouble, she's limited minutes, you can take a shot on Sharp, who is a good point per minute guy. For Denver, you got Jamal Murray probable. KCP is out. Now, I'm curious to see what they do with the starting lineup. Could they start Reggie Jackson? Yes. Could they start Strother? Again, Strother started the second half last game for KCP. Could they start Christian Brown? They have a lot of different options that could start here for KCP. They could start Justin Holiday even as well. Yeah, Jokic at the top at 12K with Jamal Murray back, I think is just like a solid option at the top. Wouldn't call him a priority. If there was no Jamal Murray, I'd feel a little bit better about Jokic. Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon feel a little bit pricey with Jamal Murray back. On Jamal Murray himself, I assume he's still on a limit. Again, he's been a little bit banged up, so he's more of a tournament-only play for me. And then I'm curious to see who starts for KCP. If it's Strother, then I do like him for value. If it's Reggie, he's kind of fine. If it's Christian Brown, I like him for value. We'll keep an eye on the news. Either way, guys like Strother and Brown and Holiday, those guys should all play more here without KCP. Oklahoma City, Sacramento. You got Shea at the top of 10-5. Good matchup for him. In competitive games, he's playing big minutes, so I like the ceiling here on Shea. You got Shot at 7-4. Reasonable price point for him. The minutes have been a little bit up and down, but he has flashed a ceiling. We haven't seen it recently, but we know, this type of upside. Chet does have this type of upside, so at this price point, I think I'm willing to take a shot on him in tournaments. You got Jalen Williams, 6.7K. Feels priced about right. Giddey with Dort back feels a little overpriced. Case and Wallace got a price increase as did Isaiah Joe. Probably can't get to those guys. Talk about Sacramento. As always, we know where the offense is running from Sacramento, right? It's Fox, and it's a bonus. You're going to see high 30s minutes from them in a competitive game. Last game was a massive blowout. Malik Monk also dealt some foul trouble, plus blowout, only played 22 minutes. But in competitive games, we've been seeing him push for close to 30 minutes. The wings are always very similar plays to me with Murray and Herter and Barnes. Murray's been playing a little bit more of late, but they will ride the hot hand of those guys. One other thing to mention, Trey Lyles, questionable. If he misses, then you should get all the backup 5 minutes for JaVale McGee. He would be a viable punt play. McGee would be viable there if there's no Lyles. Utah and Portland, this is gross, man. Two of the worst teams going up against each other. My boy Keontae George sadly got injured. I don't think he'll be able to play tomorrow. Clarkson and Collins both sat out tonight. We'll see about their availability. Markkanen was on a minutes limit. We'll see if he plays in a back-to-back. So the Jazz are pretty hard to talk about. If all the main guys are out, then we start looking at guys, like Sexton and Olynyk and THT and Dunn and Agbachi. So this team's pretty hard to talk about. I think there will be some value, but it just depends on who's in versus who's out. On the Portland side, Jeremy Grant is out. DeAndre Ayton is questionable. The Ayton news is important. Obviously, that would open up some value there in the front court if he is out. Then Malcolm Brogdon, again, if he misses, then more solidified minutes for guys like Sharp, Simons, Scoot Henderson. As far as the top end guys go, I think Simons would be my preferred option. He's going to play big minutes. He's their go-to guy in offense. Scoot Henderson finally had a solid game in 30 minutes. I think he would be interesting in tournaments if there's no Brogdon. And then, if DeAndre Ayton sits and guys like Duop Reith and Jabari Walker look better, Walker played 22 minutes last game. Duop Reith would most likely start and play low 20s minutes. Those guys would be reasonable value plays. Final game here, Golden State and we got the Clippers. So the interesting thing is, again, Steve Kerr in the rotations. Who knows what's going to happen? But Steph Curry, we don't know what's going to happen with him. He's going to play mid-30s minutes most likely. He's always fine for tournaments, but question is, what's this team going to do without Draymond? They could do a lot of different things. They could shift Chris Paul in the starting lineup, start a bit of a smaller lineup. They could throw Kuminga in the starting lineup. They could throw Saric in the starting lineup. There's just so many different ways they can go. Also, the veterans have really been struggling. Klay Thompson and Wiggins and Kevon Looney, these guys have been really, really struggling. And Kerr finally benched them all last game and rode with the young guns. Kuminga last game played 28 minutes. You saw Moody play 24 minutes. So again, he kind of rode with these younger players. Podziemski played a lot. So it'll be interesting to see, like I said, what Kerr's going to do exactly with this rotation. He might even change up the starting lineup. We'll see. But whoever starts with Draymond definitely going to have some interest in him. But Golden State definitely a tournament team for me. Finally, the Clippers. Paul George news is big, right? He's questionable. Paul George misses. Then it does make Kawhi Leonard, James Harden really good plays at their respective price points. And then my guess is you get Norman Powell in the starting lineup. Could they start Westbrook and shift Harden into the two? Yeah, that's also a possibility. But I would think they want to bring Westbrook off the bench and just move a guy like Norman Powell into the starting lineup. If there's no Paul George, then I really like Kawhi, 8-7. Really like Harden at 8-2. Westbrook, I think I would only play him if he starts. You got Zubac at 6.4. You know, the minutes have been a little bit up and down in him, but we know the ceiling's there. Norman Powell, like I said, I think is fine if Paul George plays, but if he starts for Paul George, he'd be a good play in the mid-range. I think Terrence Mann will get a minutes bump as well if there's no Paul George. Again, the Clippers are running a pretty tight rotation. You're seeing a little bit of Kobe Brown. You're seeing Daniel Tice back up Zubac, and that's about it. So I would think that if Paul George is out, that they probably dust off someone. Like maybe Bones finally gets dusted off. Could be a guy you could take a shot on in tournaments just because we know Bones is a good point per minute guy. So yeah, that's the Clippers, and that's gonna do it for the video. Again, sorry for running low on energy, guys. Like I said, just exhausted. But as always, if you do enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell.